Whether you're new to support or already playing support, this video will provide you with a lot of information on the laning phase and how to win laning phase as a support. I will break this guide into multiple parts to make it less overwhelming. In terms of support bot lane matchups, there are generally 3 types, which are hard engage, poke, and sustain. In this video, I'm going to go over how to win lane as a hard engage support and the weaknesses of a hard engage support. In future videos, I will go over how to win lane as a poke support and sustain support. So make sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss those. The first concept you must understand is that when you pick a hard engage support, your goal is to snowball early game and attempt to win in the mid game. In order to win laning phase, you must first understand what type of matchup you're against. When you're playing against a poke lane, you have to force fights whenever possible and look to engage at every good opportunity, because otherwise you will get poked out of lane, and if you don't recall, you'll get dove and lose the lane. When you're playing against a sustain lane, you basically have to force fights as well, but you have to be able to constantly engage on them, otherwise they will just heal back all the damage that you dealt, and you'll eventually lose the lane. When playing against a hard engaged lane, you don't have to force fights as much, but rather you want to look for the best engage possible. Against any lane, you want the minion wave to be in the middle of the lane or slightly closer to your tower but not hitting your tower. This is so that you can engage more freely and have more room to chase them down. The only exception is when you're planning to dive with your jungler, in which case you want to shove the wave into their tower. Now, regardless of what type of lane matchup it is, you have to engage somehow, but the question is, when is the best time to engage? In order to know whether or not it's a good time to engage, there are several key factors to consider. Number 1, lane matchup. Number 2, level power spike and item power spike. Number 3, relative position. Number 4, minion wave. Number 5, jungler location. Let's talk about the matchup first. Let's say you have Lucian ADC and you're playing Leona. An enemy is playing Caitlyn and Soraka. This is a hard engage lane versus a poke sustain lane. In this case, you are stronger in all ins but lose lane if you don't engage and get poked out eventually. You will always win engages, so look for them whenever you can. In terms of level power spike, you guys are weaker level 1 but a lot stronger level 2. So your job is to help push the wave and avoid getting poked too much level 1 and try to get level 2 before the enemy and look for an all-in. Just a small tip, you guys get level 2 when the third melee minion of the second wave dies. So you want to start walking towards your enemy when the third melee minion is about to die, so you can engage just as you get level 2 and catch the enemy off guard. Anytime you guys have a level advantage on them, you win the fights hard. Level 3 to level 6, you guys are stronger even if they are the same level as you, so look to engage at any time. Something that people don't consider is the item power spike or just the item difference in general. For example, if your ADC builds tier on their first back but the enemy builds a pickaxe, you might not win a straight out 2v2 if both players are at full HP, even if you land a good engage. So always check what your ADC builds and what the enemy builds. In terms of relative position before engaging, always ask yourself, if I engage now, can my ADC follow up? A general rule of thumb is that you want your ADC to be parallel to you before you engage. The only exception is if your ADC has some sort of dash, then they can be a little farther back, because if you were to engage here, your ADC can dash and still follow up and go for the kill, right? So otherwise, if let's say your ADC is over here and he doesn't have a dash and then you just go engage, right? What happens is the support and the ADC can both attack you at the same time while your ADC is walking slowly, and by the time your ADC actually reaches to attack, you'll be half HP and you pretty much won't be able to win that trade unless you're super far ahead. So even if you're not looking to engage, you want to always apply the same concept. So you always want to be parallel to your ADC and essentially just follow their movements and try to synergize with their movements as much as possible. So if they're walking back, you want to walk back. If they're walking forward, you want to walk forward. Okay, and this is especially important when your ADC is going for a last hit, because when your ADC is going for a last hit, if you just sit in this bush, right, and the support is going to walk up here, the ADC can also walk up and attack your ADC. So you're basically letting your ADC 1v2 in that situation. So instead of that, you want to show your presence and you want to walk up with him, right, to last hit. So every time you go to last hit, walk up, right? And another benefit of this is that if the ADC tries to look for poke, or the support tries to look for a poke, what you can do is you can engage, right, and then you can punish them for the mistake, right? By being here in range to engage, you threaten them because they know to respect your engage range, and if they don't, then that's a free kill. Using this same concept, you want to look for engage opportunities whenever the enemy ADC goes to last hit a minion, especially a canyon. So let's say there's a canyon over here, right, and it's about to be killed. They're gonna 100% walk up and try to last hit it. And what you can do to prepare for engage is start walking up and threaten to look for engage, right? Because what happens is they either back off and try to use a skill shot to take it, in which that's a plus for you, or they don't respect you, they just walk up and auto attack, and then you just get free engage, and you know they're pretty much dead. Another good opportunity to engage is when the enemy support goes to look for a ward in the river or maybe in the tri-bush. So the enemy support will be over here while the ADC will be over here, and that's just a free engage for you, right? Your ADC can follow up, and that's just free kills. One more thing to make sure that you do is before you engage, you always want to ping your ADC, right? So you want to say, alright, I'm on my way to look for engage and look for a kill. Because if you don't do that, especially in low elo, they might not be able to react. They might be too focused on farming and last hitting or doing some other shit. You know, you never know. So that's why you always want to ping and just give yourself the benefit of the doubt and just get that free kill. So in terms of the minion wave, it's simply just asking yourself, how many minions does the enemy have and how many minions do you have, right? So the key point is to just make sure that you don't have a really big, large minion wave going against you, right? Because if you have a big minion wave pushing against you over here, right, and your minion wave is over here, it's like there's like a 5 minion creep difference, and you look for an engage, right? What happens is all these minions over here start attacking you, right? And even if it's a good engage, right, your ADC can follow up and all that good stuff, you might still lose, right? This is mostly more important in like the early game, so like level 1 to 6, because minions do a lot of fucking damage, right? And you don't just want to like take a bad trade, right? Because if you go in when there's like a 10 minion wave, those 10 minions are going to start attacking you and the ADC, right? And that just means less HP for you guys, so they can actually turn it around, and you guys might actually lose the 2v2. So another reason why you want to take into account the minion wave size is because if you were to actually engage when there's like a huge minion wave here and you guys lose the 2v2, what the enemy will do is they're going to push in this whole wave, right? They're going to push in this whole wave, and then all your minions are going to die to the tower, which means you're not going to get that experience and you're not going to get any of that gold either. Lastly, we'll talk about the jungler location. Before you engage, you should always check the minimap and see whether he's somewhere on the map, right? Like maybe he ganked top or ganked mid. In that case, you're free to engage, right? Because you know that he won't be able to react in time, okay? But in the case that you don't see him on the map, like he's not mid, he's not top, then you don't want to go for this engage. Because if he's over here or he's lane ganking, I mean, then you're pretty fucked. You're gonna lose that 2v3 and you're gonna get double killed and you're gonna lose a bunch of XP. So that's a big no-no. So in the case that you have vision, right, you have wards out, then you are safe to just engage, right? The reason being is the jungler is most likely being topside. So if you go for this engage, you're most likely be able to avoid him ganking you, right? But in the case that you're unlucky and he somehow sneaks in here, right, or sneaks in for a lane gank, you can't really do much about it because that was your best odds play, right? That was the best probability that you're going for, right? And it was a risk that you take. I covered a lot of information in this video, so to summarize, the main key factors to consider before engaging are: number 1, lane matchup; number 2, level power spike and item power spike; number 3, relative position; number 4, minion wave; and number 5, jungle location. That's it for this video. If you like this type of content, make sure to subscribe to my channel as I make a lot of guides and educational videos. Don't forget to smash the like button if you enjoyed the video or found anything helpful, and check out my bronze to diamond series if you want to fast track your learning curve. I'll see you in my next video.